Hello, everyone. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie Tupac the Legend. Its plot is based on real events. In 1995, a documentary filmmaker came to Tupac Shakur's prison to interview the famous rapper. He wants to have time to tell his life story in case they want to take him down. 1971 out of the courthouse came out about the finish line of Thor, a member of the Black Panthers, and tells the journalist that she will pursue true freedom for her people, including her child. The future celebrity was not raised by her own father, but by another ardent activist, Matula. The man says everyone gathered should be willing to die for their ideas. 8 years after the speech, Matula is already wanted by the FBI for the murder of 2 police officers, and Feni realizes the feds are after her. Matula waited at home for her family as if nothing had happened, but warned Feni that she would disappear from their lives for a while. On Christmas Day, FBI agents burst into the apartment. One of them claims that Matula has robbed a bank. Because of this, the family moves to another city. And Feni tells her son that it's not that her man robbed a bank. It's just that he is a threat to white society. He's a revolutionary. And I'm going to be a revolutionary, too. Baltimore, 1987. 16-year-old Lacine attends art school. There he met and began dating Jada Pinkett. Mutlu was found and locked up, but the biological father never showed up. But there was a new man, Lex. Although he cannot read, but helps the family with food and money. Lex teaches the boy about life and immediately attacks a passerby. He turns out to be a debtor to the bandit. The mother is constantly depressed. She tells her daughter and son that the two of them will have to move to California until she has some business to attend to. The young man informs Jada of his move and at the same time reads out a romantic poem he wrote especially for his girlfriend. In California, the brother and sister had to live in the ghetto. The day they moved in, their neighbor stabbed her husband in front of them. Our hero dropped out of school. He wanted to rap for a living and attended a poetry and hip-hop class taught by Layla Steinberg. Soon she knocked out an audition for Tupac at Digital Underground. Shock signed the young talent after his first audition and gave him a tour in '90. Back home after the tour, a joyful Tupac slipped his sister some pocket money, but his mood immediately soured. His mother arrived. She was just getting some drugs from the local drug dealers. The son yelled at the penny and walked away. Tupac storms into the studio and tells Shock he's sick of being a backup singer. He wants something of his own. Tupac at first told him to fuck off, but then he offered to sing a song by Same Song, which became a hit immediately. Tupac began to actively write lyrics for his first album and worked hard in the recording studio. That same year, Tupac got his first starring role in the movie Authority, which helped him raise his media profile. People started asking him for his autograph. Producer Ted Field was not very happy to hear that his daughter's favorite Tupac song was I Don't Give a Shit. He and his colleague at Interschool Records asked that one song be removed from the album for now. It's about a 12-year-old girl pregnant by her cousin who's dealing herself in drugs. It's too depressing, and people want to have fun. But Tupac wants to tell real-life stories from black neighborhoods. And he managed to woo the producers. Soon a music video was made for the song. Tupac persuaded his mother to go to a clinic for addiction treatment. One day the guy crossed the street in the wrong place. The cops grabbed him, strangled him and kicked him. Not a pretty story. But on the other hand, there was another incident in an Oakland park. When Tupac was hanging out with his dudes, the local dudes got on him. According to them, he's stellar and doesn't do anything for the street. But the rapper verbally took down his opponent. After all, he only whines. And really does not do anything worthwhile in life. In the end a fight broke out. Shots were fired and a 6-year-old kid who came to the park with his mom was accidentally killed. Tupac went to the prison to check on Matula. He is, as always, about his own thing. And suggests that Pasinka unite the gangs with the revolutionaries. The journalist is surprised. It turns out that Tupac wants to make a positive movement for blacks, using the negative symbolism of gangsterism. Also, for some reason, after the incident in the park, he released a clip about the luxurious life, not about social problems. It was kind of contradictory. Jada saw this clip with half-assed girls and think Tupac is going somewhere wrong. The guy surprised and unexpectedly came to Jada, who also has a career that's fine. There's a party at home. Mom is back from rehab. The whole family rejoices. But the celebration was spoiled by the speech of the vice president, who condemns Tupac's work and demands that his album be banned. The mother worries that her son has a target on his back, like other black leaders. The woman recalls the Black Panthers and says the authorities will do anything to destroy him. 1993. Tupac performs in New York City at a party to celebrate the release of his new album. There he rails against the vice president and calls him a stooge. Shakur calls his buddy Biggie Smalls to the stage. At night in his hotel room, surrounded by naked girls, Tupac suggests that Biggie influence his people the same way he does. And they all listen. But it's enough for Biggie to buy his albums. Tupac quarrels with the manager of Interschool for not being paid enough. On his way out of the building, he runs into Suge Knight. He suggested that Tupac contact him with any questions. At the club, Notorious introduces Tupac to one Nigel, a local bigwig and owner of the club itself. Nigel is present on the set of the next movie and gives the rapper expensive gifts. Biggie advises his friend to be careful with this gangster. Tupac started working with Daewoo Records label, Suge Knight, and started getting much more money for his art. Friends hint to Paco that this pile of dough was earned by Sugar's criminal activities. But he doesn't care. The gangster is already being opposed by an alliance of black women for his overly aggressive, innocuous and obscene lyrics. But to female students at the club, they're perfectly fine. Once on the way to the club, Tupac saw two men beating up a dark-skinned kid. He got out of the car to intercede, but they started threatening him with a gun. That's when Tupac pulled out his gun and opened fire on them. One of the attackers was shot in the leg, and it turned out that the two were plainclothes policemen, and Tupac was immediately arrested. But the rapper was lucky to be released soon after. The cops also messed up with the guns. At the club, Nigel set Shakur up with a girl named Brianna, who served him, then disappeared the next day. But after a while she reappeared in his hotel room with Nigel, who, as always, offered to throw him some money. The girl was giving Tupac a massage, but he decided to spend the night in another room. Suddenly, a crying Brianna bursts in on him and accuses him of what his buddies just did to her. The rapper doesn't understand what's going on and what the beef is with him. After all, she's Nigel's girl and he didn't personally do anything to her. He was arrested in the hotel lobby along with Nigel. The rapper was accused of rape. However, Nigel, thanks to his connections, managed to get out of it fairly quickly. In the courtroom, Brianna pointed to Tupac. He still doesn't understand why he is the one who is being accused. Not even evidence was found against him. Tupac tells reporters that random people from his entourage are to blame. Nigel did not like it, and his minions decided they should punish the rapper for his language. Adrian, Tupac's manager, reports that because of the high-profile case, all the promoters cancel concerts and break contracts. They also hired someone else for the role in the new movie. On November 30, 1994, when Tupac entered the recording studio building, he was attacked by Nigel's men and shot almost exactly 5 times. Authorities thought it was just a robbery. Biggie Smalls was outraged when he was not allowed into Tupac's room. At trial, a jury found Tupac not guilty on the rape charge, but was found guilty of illegal touching and insulting. The sentence was 1.5 to 4 years in a maximum security prison. Shakur had no privileges in prison. Fame rather played against him. While Tupac was serving his time, his new album started at #1 on the Billboard. It's the first of its kind in history. Shakur realizes his troubles are all because of those around him. And then he also heard Biggie Smalls' new track, Who Shot You, and thought his friend was also involved in the assassination attempt. Tupac is visited by Fenny. She realizes that her son is treated very badly here. They say the system is trying to break him like it once did her. Bail is set at $1,400,000. Tupac didn't have that kind of money. So in the end, he turned to the sinister and overbearing Suge Knight for help. He then signed a contract with the DZ Records label to record 3 albums. For each he would receive $1 million, but he would have to refuse to cooperate with his old manager, Etran. He is greeted regally on the way off the plane with a suitcase of money and weed. Together with the doctor, he works on new hits. Right in the hallway of the studio, some kid got beaten up. And Tupac found it pretty funny. While working on the album, Shakur met Snoop Dogg. Suge Knight threw a banquet, to which only Dre didn't show up. Knight celebrates the label's success and stresses that they are all a real family. but immediately accuses one of those present of stealing. The big guy presses him and shoves munchies in his face, singing champagne and choking him. After that, the underlings start beating the guilty man's kidneys off. Tupac tensed up, but then pretended to have fun. The rapper constantly avoided seeing his old manager. It wasn't until he found him himself that he admitted he'd left him for Desra. At the party, he egged Jones on. Except that he had earlier insulted her father, and the girl has no desire to communicate with him. But Tupac is determined to melt her heart. One day Knightsman runs into the studio and complains that he got beat up by dudes from another gang. Tupac feels this should not be left unanswered. It was time to present Tupac's first album under the Desra label. His wife, Beggy Evans, came to the party for the occasion. And Tupac immediately sat down to chat with her. As usual, Shakur's new album went platinum. He's the #1 performer on the scene. Tupac performs a song in which he hits on Beggy. Allegedly, he slept with his wife. And then there's Beggy seeing on the cover of the magazine, Tupac hugging Faye. The song was a turning point in the rap industry and unleashed a war between the West Coast and East Coast factions. The rapper is found surrounded by chicks by his old friend Ada Penkin. And wonders what became of him and why he did it. It's dangerous. And before, Tupac wanted to bring people together with his music. Eventually she agreed to go on a date with Tupac. They started dating. Somehow Tupac confided in her that he wanted to terminate his contract with Desra and start his own business. Now he came to notify Suge Knight. He listened to him carefully, and then pulled out the ledger, according to which Tupac Shakur was still a loss-making project and needed to work it off. Tupac's mother visited, met Kadada, and told him how his sister and nephews were doing. Suge Knight called Tupac over. He thought about the rapper's words and suggested that he not start a new company, but expand Desra. Tupac would handle Doe East and manage the East Coast. Except he had declared war on the East Coast himself, and now he was going to go into their territory. Later, Tupac got angry when he heard Snoop Dogg on the radio call Biggie and his producer Papa Dazzy his friends. And out of emotion, he even lashed out at Suge Knight himself. Everyone on the plane looks at Snoop unkindly, so he stashed a knife just in case. Tupac and the others don't want to talk to him anymore. On September 7, 1996, Mike Tyson invited Tupac to attend his fight in Las Vegas. A man from Knight's team came up in the company room and pointed out the shithead who had attacked him earlier. Tupac, hot from the boxing match, immediately started beating him up. The others kicked the dude to death. Kadada wasn't happy about her boyfriend getting in a fight. Also, he seemed to be about to leave Desra. Knight is a bad influence on him. Somehow the doctor got it done. And Tupac's drifting. Now he's going to literally go to the club for an hour with Suge Knight and asks Kadada to wait for him in the room. Shakur gets into the same car as Suge Knight. They stopped at a red light, and the girls pulled up next to them, who recognized the celebrity, and on the other side, a Cadillac pulled up. From the car, an unknown man opened fire. 4 bullets hit Tupac. 6 days later, his death was announced. The rapper was only 25 years old. To this day, Tupac Shakur's murder remains unsolved.